to the Becoming You show with me, your host, Leah Rowling. Do you believe you are capable of choosing your future? Sometimes it takes just one person to believe in you, or you to believe in yourself. If you find yourself continuing to say, someday I will take better care of myself, only to continue living the same day over and over and over again, then you, my friend, are in the right place. I am your biggest cheerleader, inspiring you to become you on purpose and with intention. Are you ready to create a life you love? I'm excited to share with you some big ideas that you can use today to inspire, impact, and influence your life and everyone in it. The Becoming You show starts now. Hello, my friends. How are you? How is your week going? I am so excited about this month. I don't know if it's my first, but I'm doing another Gallenstein where I invite all of my fabulous women that I love doing this life with over, and my husband feeds us and we drink and we talk about our goals and our dreams and all the things. And I love it. We're going to the Bahamas at the end of the month and I'm excited about that. Lots of fun and travel and speaking opportunities. And I'm just and I get February being nostalgic, whatever, but I'm in love with life right now. I hope you are too. I hope you are creating a life that you love and living with intention and purpose and being disciplined with what you say you're going to do, practicing love for yourself, both topics, by the way, that I have covered over the last couple of weeks. So if you've missed me, go back and catch those. So, but setting up your weeks and managing your life so that you have the freedom to live it all out. I have talked about this topic many times on the show, but I want to hit it up again because I think it is so interconnected with discipline and love. And I want to talk to you about it today from maybe a different perspective. I want you to think about what it is that equalizes all of humanity. I wasn't even quite sure what to call this podcast. I don't even remember what I did, but it's all around this concept of the human equalizer, the one thing that we all have in common, the one thing that we all have the same amount of, the one thing that no one can get any more of than anyone else, no matter your gender, no matter how you were raised, where you were raised, no matter how much money you have in your bank account, this thing can't be bought. This thing can't be compounded. How we treat it, respect it, honor it, take care of it is the most significant way to 10x your life and have measurable change. This thing, I would argue, is also our most valuable asset. I'm guessing you've probably already guessed it by now, but time. And so if it is, and if we can't compare time, right, with other people, like they have more than I do, right? We can't compete with it. Everybody has the same amount. I think it makes sense that we might ask how we're treating it, how we're managing it, honoring it, protecting it, enjoying it. Time is always matters to me. I think it probably goes back to living with my brother, whose life was never a given. I mean, he was always just a seizure away from it being taken away. So life mattered tremendously. Time mattered tremendously. I've also always been a planner. Who are all my planners out there, right? I've used and worked with so many different planners. I have used Franklin Covey systems, Michael Hyatt's, Erin Condren's, you name it. To the point that I'm excited that I've created a planner, and I'll announce that sometime soon, but I collected all of the different planners that I've used into one because I was tired of having to navigate through a lot of them. And maybe you'll find it to support you in your journey as well. But I've always respected time. It's always been super important to me. I would rather be 30 minutes earlier than 1 minute late. There is a level of discipline, I think, a level of integrity there. My clients, my family, my friends all know that I am timely. It's important to me. If I say I'm going to be there at 5, I will most likely be there 5, 10, 15 minutes before. I want people to trust that I will be on time and that I do what I say I'm going to do. And I also want to trust myself in that way. Sometimes I feel like I might be too time bound. My husband might agree, but luckily he has massive amounts of patience for my nervous energy when I think we might be running late. And for the record, running late for me usually gets us there right on time, which, as you can about imagine, is late for me. Last week, we were headed out before my son's show choir concert, and we ran into some friends that we hadn't seen in a while. And before I knew it, it was like 7:20. Now, the performance was about 10 minutes away, and the performance was at 7:55. Okay. Now, we had not finished eating nor received the bill to cash out. Ideally, I would have liked to have been there at 7:25-ish. I want time to get in and get situated and be present. And uh, I get it for the 5-minute experience, but still, that clearly was not going to happen. So we did not get out of there until about 7:30, which puts us at about 7:40. I had paid in advance, which was awesome. We just had to scan our tickets, and then we rushed to find the doors for the performance. I was worried that they might had already have closed. I had never, I mean, when I say never, I mean never been that late to a performance. And I assumed that that was, well, true for everyone else. We rushed to the door, and we were met by a volunteer who worked the performance. And she asked us what we were trying to do. And I answered, I'm sure in frenzy, that we were trying to go in to see my son's performance. Like, they perform in 5 minutes. And she pointed to the back of the line and mentioned, which I think was aggressive, but that's my thoughts, right? That we had to stand in line like everyone else. And I was kind of taken aback because she was just like, yeah, like, there's a line and you get to stand there like everyone else. I was like, did she think I was trying to cut the line from where we came in our vantage point? We didn't see that there was a line on the other side. I also did not realize that this line was the line for the performance that was like going to happen in like 5 minutes. What? We, of course, went to the back of the line and waited for the doors to open so we could go in. And now I was both frenzied and frustrated. Frenzied because I was thinking about how late I was and how now I might not get a seat, the seat that I want, or the seat that was close, or the seat that was on his side where I know he performs. Frustrated thinking about how she spoke and how she was so upset and put out by my husband and I, as like the audacity of those people to think that they can just walk in, and I had all of these thoughts in my head. And as we passed her to get in, I kid you not, you guys, she scuffed at me like a full scuff, and I got a full blown eye roll. So anyway, we sat, waited for the concert to start, and I told my husband how badly I wanted to go and talk with her, that I wanted to explain to her that we weren't trying to cut in line, that we weren't trying to get away with anything. I wanted to explain to her that I had no idea that people would be in line, because I would have normally have been there by now in a seat watching other teams perform before my kids did. I wanted to explain to her that there was another option for her other than to point and be mean to me. There was another option for her other than to scuff and roll her eyes at me. And my husband, with almost perfect logic, reminded me of one of the most important rules of life, and that is the 24-hour rule. Now, the 24-hour rule reminds us to not make decisions, act out on our emotions for 24 hours in order to protect ourselves and to others. And jokingly, I said, but yeah, how will I know her name and her number if I don't get it now? Because I'm quite sure I'm going to want to offer her my wisdom on how to treat people. So what does any of this have to do with time? I think a lot. We did find our seats. They were actually pretty fantastic. but we might not have. And the question that I posed before this whole story was, can you be too time bound? And I'm going to suggest no. I think sometimes we think that too much rigidity in our time, in our plans, suffocates our spontaneity. And I just have not found that to be true in my life. The more I plan, the more I organize my time, the more white space I have for this spontaneity, which is why I always do my Sunday sets. And I know I've shared with you on this podcast before, but my Sunday set is when I set up my week. I block time for my projects. I block time for my morning routines, my workouts, my priorities, even my evening routines. I create opportunities to have downtime and spontaneous time. And the reason this is so important goes back to that 24-hour rule of life. If I plan my week in advance, guess who's running the show? That's right, my prefrontal cortex, the one that wants the best for me and my future me, the one that's not affected by the motivational triad, the one that offers us up to us that we need to be seeking pleasure for sure. We need to be avoiding pain for sure. And we need to be comfortable. The one that knows what you want in your life and will help you plan for it if given time. When you set up your week in advance, honoring your calendar is so much easier to do because you take out the decision about it. Your workouts, your priorities, what you're going to eat, who you're going to connect with, when you're going to take your supplements, write that project, start that book, mail your returns. You don't have to ruminate on when you are going to do it. So take working out, for example. Last week, I knew when I was setting up my Sunday set, I was going to work out Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and then Saturday. Tuesday and Thursday were jammed as I was setting up my week. And so when Saturday came around, I had workout in my calendar. It actually said run/150/meditate. Did I want to do that? No. But I also wasn't confused by having to make a decision about doing it or not, which in my brain would have looked like this. Should I run? Should I go to the gym? Should I just do a yoga flow? Should I run outside? If I run outside, what should I wear? Is it too cold? Should I ask a friend? Should I go alone? Will they be able to go right now? If I stay in, do I want to run? I guess I could just walk. I'm not really sure. What should I do? Right? Does anybody have a brain that works like mine? Those mini decisions create decision fatigue. I'm sure I would have not, after all of that mind drama, have not had the energy to do any of it. Please tell me I'm not alone and that you also have these ruminating doubts and questions like I do. But no, when Saturday came around, I looked at my calendar. I knew when Max had basketball. I knew that the workout had to be done prior to that. That's it. That's all I needed to do. Did I want to do it? No. But did I want to commit to my plan? To be integrous with my word? To better my relationship with me? To hook up my future self? Yes. Had I left that decision to work out or not to the morning of, I would have been dealing with my primitive brain, my toddler brain, the brain that wants what it wants right now. Remember that motivational triad? That's the one that's influenced by comfort, ease, and pleasure in the now. So creating trust with your time and planning your week with your prefrontal cortex is the way to minimize overwhelm, decision fatigue, and it is the way to make progress on your life and to maximize the time that you have. Again, it's all finite for all of us, but how we use it and how we manage it, I believe determines how we live our life to all out, right? How we live our life and 10x it in that way. Your higher brain will forever argue with your lower brain, and you will do that until you create the life you want. You will constantly be doing that. But setting it up ahead of time Taking away the opportunity to not decide in your favor and then following through on your word is the best way to create an incredible life. Your highest asset is time. And if you're not training it wisely, that next level of success is just not going to be available for you. So, what do you want to spend time doing? Sometimes I like to think about my life in the context of if I only had 1 year left to live, what would I want to do more of? What would I want to do less of? What would I no longer be affected by, tolerate? How would I want to spend my time? And I know that seems morbid, and maybe other people think like this. Maybe it was because I, I never knew. Every time my brother had a seizure, I didn't know if he was going to come out of it. I didn't know if he was going to live. And I think maybe I had an unfair advantage, if I can call that an advantage, to know how very precious life was. And so when I think about those questions, I truly think about, what is it that I would want to do more of? What is it that I would want to do less of and not tolerate? How would I want to spend my time? And I remind myself how much time the average person spends on social media, a minimum, so you know, of an hour a day. P.S. That's 45 8-hour work days, almost a month and a half of time gone, just gone on social media. And then you pair that with another hour on TV, and I think that's probably on the low side. So just between social media and TV, we spend 3 months a year. Now, I can't tell you if that's a healthy distraction for your life, but you can. And I'm not even saying that you shouldn't. But just like, we wouldn't be wasting money like that if we thought it was a waste. We wouldn't just be throwing it out the window because we could. And I just want to make sure that you're not throwing time out the window. And so I know when I answered these questions for me, like, what would I want to do more of? That's easy. Quality time with family and friends, experiences, learning, shocker, right? Teaching, reading, traveling, having conversations like this with you guys, coaching, teaching. That's what I want more of. What would I do less of? I guess this might be a cop-out, but I'll say anything that was getting in the way of me doing more of what I just told you, right? So social media, although I'm not on it very much, my team posts for me. And I do realize that I'm missing a huge opportunity to connect with amazing people online. But I also have a huge opportunity to connect with amazing people offline. I would watch less TV. Again, I don't watch a whole lot of it, but I would probably watch less TV. I would delegate my to-do list more. I would really hone in on being like, okay, is this something that I really have to do? Or if I delegated this, would I have more time to have more quality conversations with my kids and my friends and my family and my husband? Would I have more time to travel? Would I have more time to teach and create frameworks and systems and programs? Okay. What would I no longer tolerate or be affected by? And this one I think about a lot, but I wouldn't be affected by other people's opinion of me. And I've done a lot of work to not be, but I can't say for sure I'm cured, right? What people thought I should do, call myself, create or consume. Everybody has an opinion about it. How other people thought that I should show up. I wouldn't no longer tolerate that. I would be like, you know what? I have a year. I don't care what you think about me. What you think about me, none of my business. What you think I should do, what you think I should call myself, what you think my website should look like, don't care. I don't care. I wouldn't care about it because I would go to work caring about the things that I care about, which is my time with other people, right? How would I spend my time? I like to think how I spend it now, super intentionally, super disciplined, and super consciously. Like championing consciousness is living from your prefrontal cortex, your future loving self. That is how I would want to spend my time. And I believe that you can't have the level of success that you want for your life if you let your primitive brain run the show. I think for me, going back through all of those questions and really sitting with them, I I would invite you to scroll back, to listen back to those questions and getting out your journal and writing down those questions and living from the truth that comes from the answers. How would you live? How would you live more intentionally? What are the things that you would do in your life? Who would you do those with? What would be the rules that you would have? Like those rules are your boundaries. And I think sometimes we think about boundaries as ways to keep other people and situations out. I think of boundaries as a way you keep your life in. When you're more intentional about the time, and if you think about your life, isn't that's isn't time what it's made up of? Time, minutes, seconds, and you have breath in all of them. How you choose to use it, how you choose to show up and meet every opportunity, every situation, every conversation. Like that's the stuff that we talk about in here. That's the stuff of personal development. That's the stuff of personal growth. That's the stuff of becoming. And I don't think we can tap into that next level for us unless we know the answer to those questions. I don't think we even know what's possible for us unless we can find time in that way. And then the bigger question is why don't we live that way now? Like, why don't I live with more free abandon and the freedom of what other people think of me? As if more time makes that tolerable. It's an interesting thought, right? Like why wouldn't I just always assume that that's all the time I have? Because I don't know. I might not even have that much time. And then when you explore that and you seek that out, that becomes your next becoming journey. That becomes the next level of growth for you. That next level of opportunity for you to reflect like, girl, why is it? Why is it that you care about what somebody thinks about what you should call yourself as coach? What other people think that you should have on your website or not have on your website? What other people think that you should wear and what's appropriate and what's more sophisticated or professional and what's not? What other people think that you should do as it relates to your hair, right? I'm not kidding you. These are all comments, questions, scenarios where I have met people's opinions of me. And I had to meet it with an immense amount of like grace and curiosity. Like, why do they care what I wear? Why do they care that my hair doesn't look like I combed it out or picked it out? Why do they care that my brand colors are the way that they are, or that my website looks the way it does? Why do I care? And there's a part of that caring that matters. I mean, I want to make sure that I'm seen professional and that I'm seen that I care about my appearance and that I care that people's first impression of my website is is true to the work that I do. But then it stops there. I don't make it mean anything about me. That's been the biggest part of my journey. And I would have never explored that part of me. I would have just assumed that they were just telling me the truth of the matter, that they were just telling me that I need to dress more professionally and pick my hair out and have different brand colors and change my website up. This is the work that we get to do. And if you want help on any of this work, any of it, from self-love, the Mean Girls podcast, to having more discipline in following through on being integrous with your word, in doing what you say you're going to do, and even as it relates to how you manage time. I would love to help you take it to the next level for you, whatever that next level looks like for you. I had somebody recently offer up to me, like, if we don't need fixed, then what's all this work for anyway? Like, if we are amazing and awesome and whole and yet a work in progress, what do we need to become for? What do we need to do any of this work for? And my answer is you don't. You don't have to do any of it. You are amazing and awesome, and I love you regardless what you do. And if you love yourself, then you don't have to do any of this work. But what I know about human behavior and our own psychology is that we are wired for growth. We are wired to explore what is possible for our life. And I believe that what's possible for us, we have no clue. I believe that the capacity that we have, I don't even think any of us will meet in our lifetime. That's the becoming journey. The becoming journey is to become into something that we didn't even know was possible, to be an example for others in our communities, in our homes, and within our families of what's possible. That's what this is for. Not as a way to look at yourself and think that you need fixed. I always say that the only thing that needs fixed is this idea or this notion that we needed fixed in the first place. When we tap into that level of acceptance and love for ourselves, we will see that there might be that next level. And if you explore that and there is that next level for you, I would love to support you in that journey, whatever that journey is. If you want that, you can go to the show notes. You can check out my website, www.leahrolling.com. Apply for one of our becoming programs, get on the wait list, get a call with me, a strategy call to see if this work is even something that you might think that would be fun, that you might think you might be interested in, because this is what I know for sure. The investment that you make in yourself by way of this work pays off way more than any investment that you can make in anything else. Have an amazing one, my friends. Take care. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
You have been listening to the Becoming You show with me, your host, Leah Rolling, where I share big ideas to inspire, impact, and influence your life. Tune in every Friday at 11 Central on transformationtalkradio.com for your morning cup of coffee, the hug you never want to end, and that inspirational message that you felt was written just for you. Each show is inspiring you to become you with purpose and intention. For more information or to connect with me, visit www.leahrolling.com.